What's up, beautiful people? Today we're going to be checking out some updates from Nigeria, and this one is titled Bribery Allegation Hits Up Kano Election Petitions. I'm ready for this one, so let's get to it.
Showing on this episode of the program, a conversation on allegations of corruption in the judiciary vis-a-vis the working conditions of judges. We speak to a former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, senior advocate of Nigeria, Augustine Alege, on these and other issues. Also showing on the program, other senior lawyers assess the new cabinet and speak about key judiciary reforms. Plus a recap of the top trending legal stories in the news. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Shola Shoyeli. My guest, the former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Augustine Alege, insists that the judiciary is not as corrupt as many people think. He was reacting to a question I asked about the recent outburst of the chairman of the Kano State National and State Houses of Assembly Election Petitions Tribunal, Justice Flora Azinge, who said in open court that a senior advocate of Nigeria who has a pending case before her was attempting to corrupt the tribunal. Although there have since been some attempts to modify that outburst, Mr. Alege believes that the very fact that there was an outburst speaks volumes about the fact that there are many more upright judges.
I have heard about that case, and I do not think we should be too critical of the judge. When you are faced with such issues, it's difficult to know exactly how to proceed. However, we should encourage her to name whoever has approached her, if the approach was made directly to her. And if the approach was not made directly to her, to at least make it clear what has transpired. It is very good that she's put it out there. Her putting it out there makes it clear to everybody. Those who are offering the bribe, that she's not going to collect a bribe. So for that she said it in public, it's good.
By naming them.
But she could make it better by stating who and in what circumstances this has happened. I've always advocated for clarity and for referrals. If the judge was approached directly and she has sufficient evidence, then she could make a referral. She could come into court and say, I was approached by Mr. So-and-so, and I consider his conduct to be unprofessional, and I'm referring him to the disciplinary committee of the NBA. And she could send her proceedings to them to say, this is what transpired, and this is the step I'm taking. But all in all, I think this story shows that we have good and honest judges. This talk that every judge has a prize has been debunked by her action. And I believe whoever offered the bribe through whatever medium, through whatever source or courier, is now aware that the judge who sent the money to is not taking the money. I wish more judges will come out when they are approached and say, I don't come near me with money. It will help. It may not solve the problem, but it will help.
What will solve the problem?
You know, I always say that the challenges in the judiciary are not unique. Nothing is unique to any country. So you ask yourself, how have the problem been solved in different countries? How? And in most countries, you have the gatekeeper are the one responsible for ensuring that there's no corruption. And who's the gatekeeper? Is the judge. In Kenya, they introduced a system whereby they did not look for, first of all, I believe, if I recollect correctly, there's a threshold of gifts or acquisition that any judge makes, he must declare. You don't have to wait from when you're appointed one declaration, when you're leaving another one. No. You acquire anything while you're in service, you must declare. And they have what they call a lifestyle audit.
So if you're too rich,
for judges, you know something
run
fishy periodically.
Is going on with your life. I like that. Yeah, I do like that.
So they don't wait for you and became a So they don't wait for you became a judge at 50 and you made a declaration, then when you leave at 70, they make 20 years. I mean, so they've done that. And secondly, they introduced what I have been advocating for. Let us look at the judgment. Your judgment does not accord with law. We must read corruption into it. Because whether it is indolence, ignorance, or corruption, the effect is the same. So let's look at the judgments. Let's get an ombudsman. And if I have a complaint that this judgment does not follow the trend of the law, the ombudsman looks at it. But if you give bribe, it will show in the judgment. Whatever you do, it will show in the judgment. So the man writing the judgment is the gatekeeper. So we need to look at our judges and the judgments that they give. And when we see judgments that don't make sense, then we need to start to deal with.
But the thing is, though, when you see, I think
problem
there's been
from that
cases
end.
where we've seen judges that give judgments that don't make sense, but they've not been held accountable because these judges are super respected and they have high connections. I think we've seen that. The vice president of the opposition, the Labour Party side, he said something like that about the Senate in Nigeria. I don't want to call names, that's why I'm using these words, but he called a certain senator who had done something, and he said he's not supposed to have been in that position of authority, but the court made him be in that position, which was indicative, according to him, was indicative of corruption. And he said because of that, he doesn't trust the legal system. So yeah, I don't think in every case judges have been held accountable.
And when that happens, then when you offer the judge a bribe. And when that happens, then when you offer the judge a bribe to turn the law on his head, and the judge is 65 years, he has 5 years to go, then he has to be sure that the amount you are offering him will cover more than 5 years' salary, will deal with his pension. You understand? So you increase the stakes. So the man giving becomes also worried. If I give so much for a higher cost, like the tribunal they're talking about now, from that tribunal there's still Court of Appeal, there's still Supreme Court. So how much will I give? And every person along the line will start to say, no, I don't want to get involved. I don't want my name.
Yeah, reasonable.
And I also believe that we need to, as I've said, to reform the discipline of lawyers. We also need to reform the discipline of judges. I do not support the situation where lawyers that discipline, judges can participate, but when it comes to judges, only judges can participate. There's a particular body that disciplines judges. That body could be made up of industry users, legal industry users. Why can the president of ICANN, why can the president of NMA National, why can't we have representatives of such bodies? They also use the system, they also interact with the courts. So let them come and listen to, because the scope that lawyers are a cabal, sons are a cabal, they will protect each other, are one of the judges. Don't they protect each other? So you find that the case has to be extremely bad. They are doing well, but I'm saying that given the way our difficulty in the judiciary is affecting our national growth and development, we have to take multiple steps, tighten up the lawyers and tighten up the judicial end of judges. But in all of this, Jesus had 12 disciples. Just one
betrayed him.
So we have good judges, we have very good lawyers, upright, but we also have some bad eggs. Like they say, a drop of water, a drop of oil will soil
water.
a gallon of water. So that's the challenge we have.
Staying with the judiciary, in the last 1 month alone, the judiciary has lost about 5 justices. And, this again brings to the fore the issue about the conditions and their welfare, the conditions under which they work. Do you think that...
Lost them, were they killed or was it medical issues? Like, what happened? That's concerning.
Country is doing enough? Or what more do you think we should be doing?
Shala, when you say what more needs to be done, you assume that something is being done.
I don't want to believe that
I don't share that sentiment. I believe that there are, look at the last embarrassment we had when Supreme Court justices,
the infamous letter,
yes, had to come out. We miss the problem that letter portrays. It shows that from top to bottom. And what has happened? Are you sure anything has changed? Because if it's the same system we're running, that we're still running, for one, after the O.J. Simpson trial, I got interested in how it was possible for that trial to run, and by the next day, everybody has the transcript. In every arbitration I've done in the last 20 years, we have a court recorder. We now have video recording from court, which is even compressed. You leave court in the morning, in 2 hours, you have this transcript certified of the court record. Our judges are writing in longhand. Our courts are not air-conditioned. The courts in the Federal High Court in Lagos, an embarrassment. And you think of the judges who are made to work in such conditions. So we are talking of...
And they have to sit there for hours.
Quality of life. How long do you spend at home and how long do you spend in the office? So they leave home, say 8 o'clock or 7:30, get to court at 8, clear their table, they sit till 4, 5, they get back home at 6. They spend the whole day in an unhealthy environment.
Sitting too.
How much are they paid? Pittance. So we haven't even started. We haven't even scratched the surface. We need to... There are judges who don't have computers. There are judges who don't have laptops. And then it all plays into other things. If you don't have good conditions of service, you can't expect good quality of work.
Right.
So it's all intertwined.
And also, like, if somebody is going through this situation and imagine being offered like 1 billion naira and you just know 1 billion naira is all you need in your life to change things, you don't even want to be a judge anymore if you had to go through this kind of harsh conditions to work. Yeah. So you need to treat them well. It's the same thing I say about police officers, because people are saying, some people say they are corrupt. I'm like, these people, if the money you get to give them is higher than what they receive from their salaries, then they've been enhanced to take more money. But if they are being taken care of, they're going to think about, like, why do I need your money? So if you take care of these people, I'm not saying it's going to eliminate the corruption, but it's going to bring it down. Yeah, but the money, Nigeria, where is our money going to? We need to start holding these leaders accountable. All the corruption you've been fighting, collecting the money, where is it? Use it for things like this.
We think that it is something that government needs to take emergency steps.
Declare a state of emergency.
Yes, in that regard, to address, it's not just salary. Let's look at Lagos. They're doing very well in Lagos. If it was the House of Assembly that got burnt when the Bribery High Court got burnt, will it still be down by now? No. If it was the governor's office that got burnt, it would have been up. Have you gone to the courts in Osborn Phase 2? And this is Lagos. So if this is Lagos, start to imagine how it is in other parts. Mm-hmm. So we all look at the salary, the cars they don't get and all that. but there are inherent working conditions where they work in. If you go to the Federal High Court here, you see the heaps of files, the dust.
Take over the courts.
Yes, so we need to do a lot more for our judges, for the entire judicial system.
Who has to lead that process? The Attorney General of the Federation?
It's not a process that should be left to one person or one arm of government. If Attorney General leads the fight and the legislature do not vote the money, he gets stuck. If the executive as a whole doesn't get interested, we get stuck. If the judges themselves are not interested, at times we find that people resist what is good for them. A corrupt judge will not want you getting his transcript every day. So that's why I say it's not for the Attorney General. There has to be collective effort. The judiciary must be open to receive new ideas. The executive must be willing to fund sufficiently, because they are the ones that do the budget for the judiciary. And the legislature must support by voting the money required for all these things to be put in place. If we put the right things in place, things will get better.
Let's round up talking about the situation in Niger. I know there's been so many interventions calling for diplomatic options. How are you reading that?
You know, the root of all countries is democracy, so everybody wants democracy.
But democracy is so vague these days, so vague. It's just people who want to be dictators, masquerading as Democrats. So it's so vague these days.
Let's round up talking about the situation in Niger. I know there's been so many interventions calling for diplomatic options. How are you reading that?
You know, the root of all countries is democracy, so everybody wants democracy. But democracy has evolved in various ways in various countries. Take Egypt. They had the Arab Spring, and they got a very popular president who was now termed to be a fundamentalist or something, and he got overthrown, and the military took over, and the military converted to civilian. So each country needs to grow based on its own peculiar challenges. The people of Niger have their own peculiar challenges, different from our own challenges.
Right.
So we need to hear them out. We need to have a dialogue. We need to talk with them. Their sovereignty cannot be compromised. We cannot determine for Niger what is good for them.
You see everything I've been seeing on the channel for so long. You see, this man, I don't know him before. I don't even know his credibility. But from this interview, he's making a lot of sense. He's making a lot of sense. And this thing I've been saying it, like military intervention, sanction, doesn't make any sense. Dialogue, even sanctioning them is meaning you're trying to force them, which if you're forcing somebody, you're not giving them a chance for dialogue. If you're forcing me to do anything, I don't want to do it. Like you're irritating me. And so the sanction is not helping. We've even seen EU providing the humanitarian aid back to Niger, because forcing is not going to do anything to make the coup leaders relinquish power. So yeah, he's making sense. I'm sorry I keep stopping the video, but he's touching nerves,
Military took over, and the military converted to civilian. So each country needs to grow based on its own peculiar challenges.
Right.
The people of Niger have their own peculiar challenges, different from our own challenges. So we need to hear them out. We need to have a dialogue. We need to talk with them. Their sovereignty cannot be compromised. Mm-hmm. We cannot determine for Niger what is good for them. But we know that democracy must be in Niger. So we need to reason it out with them and find a solution to the problem. I have a feeling that he is more interested in dialogue. Probably the talk of an invasion is to let them know that we have another option. But without question, dialogue is the solution, and we must all appreciate in the dialogue.
That's everything.
Thanks for staying tuned.
Okay, so that was a long one. We'll end it right there. I'll put the link again to the channel in the description. So if you want to go see the full video or the news for the day, feel free to go check them out. But I just thought I should bring that so we can hear the updates on the allegation that's, should I say, conspired in the Election Petitions Tribunal. Well, let me know what you think about that. The man, he's very sound. He's mentally sound. I don't know if he was I think he was a judge himself, senior advocate of Nigeria. But he's sound and he seems credible. When I say credible, I'm not saying school, education, or certification. I mean credible based on upholding the values of his profession. That's what I mean by credible in this sense. But talk to me, smash the like button, share your thoughts. I also, with regards to the lady, I want her to call the name. You know, the lady that's kind of like the whistleblower that said they were trying to bribe her. I really want her to call the name so those people can be held accountable, or the person responsible should be held accountable too. Well, smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Have a very wonderful day. Peace.
I made this bet on my own,